The Township Economy Development Act is being hailed as a boost for local entrepreneurs. Premier David Makhura signed the bill into law last month. It's aimed at redressing the decimation of township businesses by apartheid. Joining me now is the Provincial DDG for Economic Planning and Development, Jak Koseff. Jak, thank you very much for your time this morning. Now talk to me about this act, which one could say in essence is aimed at addressing the legacy that apartheid left on Gauteng's townships.
Absolutely. So, an honor to be here, and thank you for the chance to really clarify and explain what this very important piece of legislation does. So, the Act gives Gauteng Province, specifically the MEC, the power to create what are called Township Enterprise Zones. What these are spatial targeted areas where we can then throw everything government can do at the task of diversifying and developing the economies in those areas. That includes their own dedicated bylaws, which make it easier to start and operate a business. Basically, if you can operate a business there and there's no good reason that you shouldn't operate a business there, you can. Licensing under those bylaws will be easier, etc. Then in addition, there's a range of other benefits that we've stacked that apply to those areas. So, for example, they will be prioritized once they're declared at the end of June for procurement by Gauteng provincial government. We are putting there's 17.4 billion worth of procurement we've targeted for township areas that will be directed at these zones. Companies within those zones will have the first bite at being able to supply, and we'll be directing 6.3 billion worth of our BBBE capacity building spending, our enterprise and supply development from across provincial government at the task of building supply clusters and capabilities in those zones. We're actively negotiating on tax incentives for those zones with National Treasury that will discount the cost of investing in capital and paying people and creating jobs in those zones. And we will also be deploying over the coming months a range of programmatic supports for some of the key areas of the township economy that have huge potential but need to be unlocked and unleashed, like the taxi economy. 6 million people pass through our taxi nodes every day. It's the size of the New York City subway system, yet we have no meaningful consumer economy. Backyard shacks converted to infill residential. 4 million people live in informal backyard dwellings in Gauteng. Huge potential, as our partners are demonstrating, to upgrade those to 1, 2, 3-story dwellings with workshops, student housing, etc., etc. And there's a range of different areas: waste economy, ICT, broadband, cloud zones that we're deploying. All of it spatially targeted, effectively doing for black areas what BBBE is designed to do for black individuals: redress, correcting the very exclusionary patterns of the past.
I'm glad that you're delving deeper into exactly what it would look like, because the clarity is needed here for somebody that's quite interested, you know, to be a part of these. When you speak of the township enterprise zones, if we had to talk practically what's happening on the ground, for example, in Alexandra, you will have these enterprise zones. Where exactly? Because right now we know there's not a lot of land. So how would you go about identifying where that enterprise zone would be, and then give us the most practical example? Would you then perhaps make it a fresh produce zone where those that are in that space now are organized and placed together in this specific enterprise zone, as you call it?
Okay, so let me use 2 practical visualizations. I'll use Alexandra and I'll use Greater Soweto. So we declare an enterprise zone, firstly, across the entire wide area. So let's say it's Greater Alex, including both the East Bank section and Old Alex, and let's say Greater Soweto, the entire like 36, 37 wards that make up the Soweto area. Across the entire span of the zone, the new bylaws apply, so it's easier to start a business. The tax breaks apply, so there's incentivization for investment. They're targeted for funding under our new Township Economy Partnership Fund. So if you are a private enterprise of any size that is operating and you're in need of concessionally priced, concessionally targeted financial services, and we can jump into how that works in a moment if you're game, then you are top front of the queue for those services. Then there are particular precincts, and the Act identifies that, where specific kinds of activity are deliberately promoted programmatically. So in Alex, you would look at something like Pan-Africa and the surrounding area as a potential massive expanded consumer node. There's quite a bit of consumer retail there, but you could do a lot more. There's the opportunity to add in automotive value chain support linked to the taxi economy. That is a huge component of activity in Alex. There's the opportunity to do what we call cloud zones. So Alex is one of those that's targeted for a cloud zone, which is a combination of global business services, so investors that are looking for pools of online workers. They want to be close to their workforce so that they cut their costs as far as possible, and they want to service a global need for data labeling, data annotation, cybersecurity, customer service, whatever it may be. But they need to then invest with our help in connectivity. That connectivity can then cross-subsidize, hot desking, small office spaces, WeWork style for small businesses that have got digital offerings but do not have the capacity to run their own desktop, run their own connection, which is a huge underserviced constituency in townships. In Greater Soweto, you can think in all kinds of different terms. Run in your mind from Nazareth, where another cloud zone is being set up already. Move across the Soweto Empowerment Zone, where you've got large industrial clusters that can be formed using the market access delivered through government procurement. Add in at Barra. At Barra Hospital, we're already trialing what we call an install, repair, maintain hub, which is a way of using, in that case, government procurement again, to basically develop artisanal skills. So they're older workers that have developed their skills working as contractors or picked up skills as a contractor working on the back of a bakkie now get elevated as an SMME. They get their own bakkie on condition that in the bakkie next to them is a young person from a TVET or a technical college that is getting their first bite at on-site work in a trade that they've had theoretical training in. It's kind of double empowerment model that's already working at the Barra taxi rank. You move further along the area around the old Vista campus, what is now UJ Soweto, huge potential for infill residential development, student housing. So all those backyard dwellings can be upgraded to multi-story student housing. And if you remember, NSFAS will contribute 5,000 Rand per student that is housed according to relevant standards. That's a huge income stream. All of this can be connected because you're
Oh, unfortunately, we seem to have lost Jak there. Very important conversation. DDG for Economic Planning and Development, Jak Koseff.